as a way of thinking about it. The three questions we've really asked. We started with who is he wrestling? We started with what does it mean to wrestle? Is it a dust up, avec, as like the Hebrew word for dust, or a embrace, which is another way that that root can be. The last question I'm going to ask is the blessing. He wrestles until the angel or the man who we understand as an angel blesses him. What is the blessing? And the question for me really has to go back to the beginning. Why is he wrestling is going to tell me what the blessing is. The blessing he receives is he receives the name Yisrael. He will no longer be called Jacob, which, by the way, isn't true, right? I mean, we call him Jacob all the time. We never call Avraham Avram. He became Avraham. Sarai is no longer Sarai. She became Sarah. But Jacob goes back and forth between Jacob, Israel, Jacob, Israel, Jacob, Israel. So part of his blessing that he will no longer be called Jacob doesn't really fit the way his life is. But the angel blesses him anyway. You will no longer be Jacob. You will be Israel. But I think that the blessing is in that ambiguity. That Jacob is given the blessing of being able to live with his ambiguity, not the way we might imagine a biblical story would go, that he would go from being torn and, how do I live with myself, to being solid and certain, and now I'm Israel, and now I can be the patriarch to become the children of me, the children of Israel. But that Jacob can live with being human, that he could be Jacob and Israel, something bigger than life, but something that's also himself. That's the blessing that I think we could imagine ourselves getting as well. We're not going to get a blessing that lifts us up over the rest of the world, but we're also still looking for a blessing that allows us to live with ourselves, our foibles, and yet dream our biggest dreams, that we can be Israel, that we can be the one who grapples in the most noble way with God and with others and for what's good and for what's right. And at the same time, live with ourselves, because we're not perfect. And yet we still have to engage. So the dust and the embracing, to me, is a way of showing ambiguity. Sometimes the wrestling makes us less sure of ourselves. Sometimes it brings us closer to ourselves. Sometimes we wrestle with ourselves. Sometimes we know we're wrestling with others. All of this, to me, is what Jacob wants to live together with. And that is his blessing, that he can be Jacob and Israel. Thanks for watching Parsha, Parsha, Parsha. Yes, I can't resist a Brady Bunch reference. And let's try this again. I'll put it out on Facebook when we'll do this again. Shabbat Shalom.